Good morning, guys. Happy Tuesday. We are continuing where we left off last Tuesday. It was all about the topic of chronic anxiety. Chronic anxiety is what gives you those physical symptoms we were talking about that transpire into physical symptoms, such as headaches, dizziness, nauseousness, GI problems, all the issues that we talked about last week that were just a small amount of the symptoms that can be presented due to anxiety. So the first question I have here for you guys is, do you guys know the difference between chronic anxiety versus everyday anxiety? So we all have everyday stressors in our life, right? Like we may be running late, we may be stressed over work, we may be stressed over something happening in the family. That's what we call everyday stresses. They come and go throughout the day. Chronic stress is something that is over a long extended period of time, and it is consistent, and we are experiencing the same feelings of anxiety consistently day to day for a long period of time. So that is what chronic stress is. What do we do when we realize that we're experiencing chronic stress? The first and the most important thing anyone can do once they learn that they are experiencing chronic anxiety is to actually understand that this is something that they really need to take care of and to accept it. So the first order of business with any disease, alcoholism, addiction, anxiety, depression, anything, the first best thing you can do for yourself is to understand and really accept that this is something that is going on, to accept it and to be prepared to deal with it. Next step is drawing up a plan. Okay, I know this problem exists. I know I'm experiencing chronic anxiety. I know I'm having physical symptoms due to this anxiety. What am I willing to do, and how am I willing to spend my time figuring out a good plan for myself that is personal for me and it is helpful for me? Number 2 on my list is to put aside a certain amount of time in your week and in your days to deal with this specific problem. The reason I say this is because a lot of times we're so caught up and busy in our daily lives, especially someone who is experiencing chronic anxiety. Chances are they are very busy. Chances are they're experiencing some sort of an adversity in their life, difficulties. And so it's specifically important for that person to put away some designated amount of time to deal with this and to come up with a plan. Third on my list is to take note of what the plan is. So take out a journal and journal what your ABC plan is, what your 1 to 5 plan is, and go from there. So once you know your plan, write it down. All right, next on my list is social support. It's so important to have a good social support team, or even a couple of people. It could be 3 people, it could be 1 person, but whoever it is that you really trust, to keep in your circle and to speak about this issue, because oftentimes when we don't speak about something, we are trying to hide it from ourselves. But once it comes out and once we share it with someone, then it's almost easier to chew on and it's easier to understand and accept. So share at least with 1 person, if not with 2 or 3 trusted sources. Next thing on my list is self-compassion. I always say this, and it's so important. Let's say it was a loved one that was experiencing this sort of a chronic anxiety. Would you blame them? Would you talk down to them? Would you be negative about it? Or would you be understanding, and would you be kind to them and give them some self-love at the time that they need it the most? It's amazing that we're able to do that for other people, but we're unable, unfortunately, to do it for ourselves. So make sure you're not harsh. Make sure you're understanding. Make sure you're kind to yourself, and be really aware of your self-talk. When you are feeling anxiety, all you need is for yourself to keep talking yourself more and more down, and then it can easily turn from anxiety to depression, and they go hand in hand. And then the last one on my list when it comes to chronic anxiety is, regardless of how busy you are, regardless of how crazy your days are, make sure to take a personal break from your everyday routine, from your work, from your responsibilities. Whether that is a drink out with a friend, a dinner out, a walk, a yoga session, an exercise session, whatever it is, 1 hour a day, put it aside for yourself and focus on you so that you can break the cycle of whatever it is that you're busy with in life, which is most likely what is causing the anxiety. Ask me your specific questions about anxiety so we can talk more in detail, because anxiety is such a broad topic and there's so much that goes into it. There's so many different versions of it. There's so many different DSM criteria for different types of anxiety. So ask me specific questions and I'd be happy to answer you guys. Thank you, and I hope this helped.